Hi everyone, my name is Erin Lopynski. I'm a registered dietitian and I'm really thankful that Nura and Denise have invited me here today to discuss nutrition with you all, and specifically nutrition and breast cancer. So I think there has been a lot of great emerging research in the area of breast cancer, and I like that a lot of the research is focusing on one specific cancer at a time versus cancer as a whole. And it's important to know that what you're looking at when you are doing your own research in that realm of just specifically breast cancer. So kind of cool to be able to discuss this with you all today. Diet is considered one of the most important modifiable factors contributing to cancer prevention, and I think it's important to start off by saying that no one nutrient is going to reduce your risk, but the combination of many nutrients and antioxidants may play a big role. So while I'll be talking to you all in future Nutrition November posts about specific nutrients to add into your diet, I think it's important to start out in this opening video to discuss specific dietary patterns and plans that can be beneficial for overall value for reduction in breast cancer risk. And I also think it's important to honor your own lifestyles and what nuggets of information you can take from this video to apply to your life versus going to an extreme and feeling like you have to jump to being vegan or cutting this out, cutting that out. It's better to just take it one step at a time and progress within our diet plans and within our lifestyle versus being radical about things. So I want to chat with you about two specific dietary styles, and that is plant-based eating and Mediterranean style diet. So with plant-based eating, we don't necessarily have to go all vegan or whole food vegan or raw vegan to reap the benefits of plants. So for a lot of us, it's more realistic for our lifestyle to just incorporate more fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes such as beans, peas, lentils, nuts and seeds, and a lot of the benefits in incorporating more of these foods are for the fiber, and specifically going into fiber, eating higher fiber intakes have shown in different studies to reduce breast cancer risk, and suggested that intake during our adolescence and early adulthood may be particularly important. But just in general, there have been pooled data that have shown that women who consume the highest amounts of fiber were 8% less likely to develop breast cancer than those who consumed the least. So getting soluble and insoluble fibers from a variety of different plant sources is a really important thing. Another thing to consider when eating more plant-based is getting color. So those deep, rich, dark colors, the purples, the reds, the orange, deep, leafy green vegetables, we have more antioxidants and polyphenols and phytonutrients in these foods that are really important for reducing oxidation in our body, that oxidative stress that kind of, it kind of reaps havoc in our systems. So polyphenols in fruits, legumes, but also spices, tea, wine, cocoa, and coffee may contribute to nutritional breast cancer prevention in general. Wine is a little bit more controversial, but just because alcohol in general is controversial, but within those other food groups and beverages, we're going to talk in another post a little bit more about spices and beverages given the holidays coming up, so that can kind of be fun to discuss ways to reduce breast cancer risk within these food and food components. So I do also want to mention, as I mentioned, being a little bit flexible if you are including more plant-based foods. There is a lot of chatter about protein and breast cancer risk, so I do want to mention that the overarching claim to avoid all meat and animal products is not warranted. So you don't need to be vegan to lower your risk for cancer, but you do want to consume a lot of plant foods. So after, given recent research, the risk versus benefits of animal foods varies quite a bit depending on the type of animal protein and the way it's prepared. So just keeping in mind that overall the cooking method makes a difference. So high temperature cooking may be a little bit more detrimental, as well as the processing of meat may be more detrimental. So you want to make sure that you're getting the quality protein sources and animal products, but also fish may actually be protective, and especially fatty fish that have those omega-3s that Nura and Denise were talking about the other day. So we want to just make sure that we're getting a variety of these different foods. You hear kind of the different dietary or diets described as like flexitarian or pescatarian, and that can just be a little bit more flexible to include more plants and the occasional meat products, while putting the emphasis on fish, especially if you're a pescatarian. It's just fish and plant-based products. So kind of think deep into what is sustainable for you and what is the most realistic for your lifestyles. I think is an important thing to think about when trying to eat more plant-based. So to kind of switch gears now into the Mediterranean diet. So the Mediterranean diet actually incorporates a lot of similar components, because the Mediterranean diet does encourage plant-based eating too. They kind of have this food pyramid in the Mediterranean style diet that has layers. So the top of the layer would be vegetables, fruits, olives and olive oil, dried beans and other legumes, nuts and seeds, herbs and spices. And then you kind of go the layer below that would be, mostly whole grains, breads, pastas, rice, unrefined cereals. Below that, they mention the importance of fish and seafood. Below that, they mention chicken and other poultry, eggs, cheese, yogurt, wine, mostly red. And then the bottom layer would be the red and processed meats, sweets, and desserts. So it's not to say that you can never have those foods and you shouldn't feel guilty when you have those foods, but just kind of thinking the priority and the focus should be incorporating more plant-based foods, fish over some of the other animal choices, and then whole grains and such. And also, one of the things I really like about the Mediterranean style diet is it incorporates lifestyle as a whole. So not just diet, but also incorporating more exercise, reduction in stress, and also drinking more water. So that's a big component too of plant-based eating, is these water-rich fruits, vegetables, foods. There's something to be said about that, the fact that our bodies are made mostly of water. So I think taking a dive deep into the Mediterranean diet, there's been a lot of research in this. So the adherence to this dietary pattern has suggested a beneficial factor for preventing breast cancer. In addition, it has shown to have improvement in breast cancer survivors' general health by decreasing their non-breast cancer related mortality. So I think that's something really promising. And they'll, in the research, they'll extract specific nutrients to isolate and look into. But I do think it's important to think about, this plan of either plant-based eating or Mediterranean style eating as a whole. But to break it down a little bit, the nutrients that are included in a Mediterranean style diet would be more fatty acids, polyphenols, as I mentioned earlier, specifically EGCG, resveratrol, which could be in grapes, and those kind of like dark purple, vegetables, and then organosulfur compounds, so that's in cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, quercetin, camphorol, so that specific nutrients that actually in a later post I'll get more into, and then micronutrients such as zinc and selenium are found in a Mediterranean style diet. So I think it's really great to be thinking about how these specific dietary patterns can improve the inflammation in our body and influence breast cancer outcomes. Hopefully this was educational for you all. I think one big takeaway I hope is that we just want to balance our meals a little bit better, and looking deeply into your specific dietary habits and what you can do differently, maybe adding in a little bit more fruits, maybe choosing more whole grains, choosing more plant-based styles of protein than animal styles, just kind of getting that balance, I think, is an important takeaway. But let me know in the comments below what you've learned. If you have questions, I would love to make this a discussion. I can answer your questions in the comments. Let me know, and thank you all for having me, and I hope you're having a great day.